Two men are standing in the same parking lot outside the same grocery store. Both are 55. Both have worked for 32 years. Both will turn 65 in exactly 10 years. One of them will retire. The other will still be scanning items at a register at 71, telling people he stays busy because he likes it. And here is the part that unsettles people. Right now, in this parking lot, the man who ends up working until 71 earns more money. $22,000 a year more. He has the better car, the better house, the better job title. If you had to bet, you would bet on him. Almost everyone does. Being broke at 65 is not something that happens to you. It is something that gets built, quietly, over about 15 years out of decisions that never once looked like mistakes on the day you made them. That is the good news. Anything that gets built can be dismantled, but you have to be able to see it first. Most people assume the difference is income. It almost never is. The Federal Reserve has been tracking this for decades, and the pattern holds at every salary level. There are people earning $40,000 who retire comfortably, and people earning $180,000 who cannot stop working. Income determines how fast you could build. It does not determine whether you do. What actually determines it is a small set of habits that look completely harmless from the inside. Each one of them costs almost nothing today and costs everything over 15 years. And every single one of them is visible right now, if you know what you are looking at. So here are 8 signs you are on track to be broke at 65, and exactly how to reverse each one starting this month. Watch for the ones that make you slightly uncomfortable. That discomfort is information. Sign 1, your retirement number is a feeling, not a figure. Ask most people how much they need to retire and you get a shrug and a vague gesture toward $1 million. That is not a plan, that is a mood. And you cannot save toward a mood because a mood has no deadline and no monthly payment attached to it. Reverse it now. Take your current annual spending, multiply it by 25. That is your number. It will probably horrify you. Good. Horror is a deadline. Write the figure on paper and put it where you do your bills. Sign 2. Every raise disappears within 90 days. You got the promotion. 6 months later, the account balance looks identical. The money did not vanish. It got absorbed into a slightly nicer apartment, a slightly nicer car, a slightly nicer everything. Lifestyle creep is not a spending problem. It is a permanent problem because you cannot unbuy a bigger mortgage. Run the numbers on it once. A person who receives a $10,000 raise at 40 and absorbs all of it into lifestyle ends up with nothing extra at 65. The same person who invests half of it walks away with roughly $300,000 additional dollars for the price of never noticing money they never held. Reverse it now. Split every future raise in half before you ever see it. 50% goes straight into retirement contributions the same week the raise lands. 50% is yours to enjoy. You will never miss money that never touched your checking account. Sign 3. You are carrying debt that buys you nothing. There is debt that produces something. A mortgage produces shelter. A modest car loan produces the ability to work. Then there is the other kind. Credit card balances at 24%. Financed furniture. Buy now, pay later on things you already used up. That debt is a machine that runs in reverse. Compound interest, pointed at your chest. Reverse it now. List every non-mortgage debt with its interest rate. Attack the highest rate first with every spare dollar while paying minimums on the rest. A 24% balance eliminated is a guaranteed 24% return. No investment on earth offers that with certainty. Sign 4. Your savings sit in a checking account. This one feels responsible, which is what makes it dangerous. $40,000 sitting in a bank account earning almost nothing is not being saved. It is being slowly eaten. At 3% inflation, that $40,000 has the buying power of about $29,000 in 10 years. You did nothing wrong and you still lost $11,000. Reverse it now. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account for emergencies. Everything above that belongs in a low-cost index fund inside a tax-advantaged account. Cash is a tool, not a destination. Sign 5. Your plan is to work as long as you can. Ask anyone who is behind what their plan is and you hear a version of this. I will just work longer. It sounds like discipline. It is actually a bet, and it is a bet you do not control. Roughly half of retirees leave the workforce earlier than they intended, and almost none of them chose it. Layoffs. Health. A parent who needs care. The body simply saying no. There is a second problem with the plan. Working longer only helps if you are also saving during those extra years. Most people who work past 65 are not adding to retirement accounts. They are covering expenses. That is not building a retirement. That is postponing one indefinitely. Reverse it now. Build a plan that works if you are forced to stop at 62. If working longer is a bonus rather than a requirement, you have a plan. If it is load-bearing, you have a hope. Sign 6. You are financially supporting adults who can support themselves. The phone bill, the car insurance, the rent covered again this month, the $500 that was going to be paid back. Individually, each one is love. Collectively, over a decade, it is often $80,000 to $100,000 of retirement money transferred out of your future and into someone else's present. Reverse it now. Put an end date on every ongoing support arrangement and say it out loud to the person receiving it. You are not being cold. Nobody is helped when you become the emergency they have to fund at 75. Sign 7. Your entire net worth is locked inside things you must keep paying for. On paper, you are fine. $600,000 in home equity, $40,000 in vehicles. But equity in a house you live in does not buy groceries, and it demands property taxes, insurance, and repairs every single year. A large net worth made entirely of expensive objects is not wealth. It is overhead with a good credit score. Reverse it now. Calculate what percentage of your net worth is actually liquid and invested. If it is under 30%, stop upgrading physical assets entirely and redirect every available dollar into investments for the next 24 months. Sign 8. You have never once run the actual math. This is the sign underneath all the others. You have never sat down for 90 minutes and calculated what your current savings rate produces by 65. Not because you are lazy, because you already suspect the answer, and not knowing feels survivable in a way that knowing does not. Reverse it now. Open a free compound interest calculator tonight. Enter your real balance, your real monthly contribution, 7%, and the years you have left. Look at the number. It is the single most useful 90 minutes of your financial life, and it costs nothing but nerve. Here is the mechanism nobody explains. None of these 8 signs is expensive on any given Tuesday. That is precisely why they work. A person who is going broke at 65 is not making a catastrophic decision. They are making a $200 decision, repeatedly, for 180 consecutive months, while their income quietly rises to cover it. Meanwhile, the person who retires is not earning more. They are simply routing a fixed percentage of everything they touch into assets that compound, and then leaving it alone. That is the entire difference. It is not intelligence, it is not luck, it is direction of flow. And compounding is brutally indifferent to intention. It rewards whatever you actually did, not what you meant to do. Which brings us back to the parking lot. The man who retires at 65 was never the obvious choice. He drove the older car on purpose. He took the raise and split it in half. He ran the math once, hated the answer, and changed the inputs. 10 years is not enough time to fix everything. It is more than enough time to fix the direction. The other man is not reckless, and he is not stupid. He is simply 10 years into a pattern that nobody ever told him to look for, and by the time the pattern becomes visible, it has already spent the money. You are somewhere in this story right now, whether you are 35 or 58. The signs you just heard are not a verdict. They are a diagnostic. And the only genuinely unrecoverable mistake is deciding that it is too late to check. It is not. But that stops being true a little more every year you wait.